Hey guys, be sure and check out the My Ambitions as a Writer blog where I, the Mrs. Morgan you know, Kate Morgan, shares my many opinions, stands with women everywhere, and stays rough and rugged addressing the mass public. Visit themorganyouknow.com/blog. Enjoy!
All right, welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan You Know podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy and Hot Rod. How you doing, buddy?
I am excited, Jimmy. There is a chance that Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens can become tag team champions. I've not been this excited about possible tag team champions since possibly the Bushwhackers.
It's the meeting of the madness and the mania. It's the mega powers for our podcast. With your favorite and my favorite, that would be fantastic. Be a great road to WrestleMania. Don't think it's happening.
I know you're probably right, but I love that you said mega powers there. That's a nice little tease as to what's going to be happening here soon.
A little tease. So we have finally done this. I know you've wanted to do this for a while. And we do have a special guest. Now, we don't have two special guests. We were going to have a second special guest that you teased on Balls and Brew, obviously part of the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network as well. Tell us a little bit about Chris.
Well,
Ron.
Chris, he wanted to make it here. We thought it would be a good idea to have four people since we're doing a Mount Rushmore episode, which is four people. But, sometimes things come up and you can't make recording time. And, when there's multiple people involved, you got to stick with the recording time that works for the majority. So here we are on a Saturday and we will miss Chris. But I just wanted to get that out there for folks because I did promise he was going to be here.
I love how politically correct you were with that. Let's get real here. The four people he got on his list wrestled before radio was invented.
That's true.
So we had no basis to say, okay, sure, that guy was good. I don't know, but one guy who will definitely make up for Chris not being here is the returning AEW superfan Gig Guy. How are you today?
Hey, all right. It's every woman's dream and every man's nightmare. Gig Guy Warner. How you fellas doing?
I'm excited. Love hearing your voice, Warner.
So we've got our Mount Rushmore episode. Mount Rushmore, obviously, we have four people that we're going to put on our mountain here. And I really want to see, before we get into the specifics, what was your rationale? What was your thought process behind these people on your list? So Rod, we'll go to you first. So what was your thought process here?
This is a business. Okay. These are predetermined outcomes. All right. So for me, I just completely thought about who has been the best at the business angle, who's gotten huge pops, who's gotten over, who sold a bunch of merch, who had a great character, who could work well in the ring, which is essential for the business, meaning getting other guys over or themselves playing face or heel. And for me, there were three answers that just boom, 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 popped right into my head. And then I had a multiple battle royal, and Andre the Giant 20-man battle royal, if you will, for my fourth position. That's where my head was at. How about you, Gig Guy?
Well, you gave me the tip last week that we might be doing this, so I had a lot of time to think. I got a lot of time on the road with just my mind, and I was literally thinking about Mount Rushmore and what it means. Think about it. It's some of the most important leaders in our country's history up there plastered on that mountain. Now, when you equate that to wrestling, what does that mean? What are some of the four most important wrestlers of all time? Well, at least in our reference of time, like you said about that guy Chris that couldn't be here, we'll miss him. But if you start naming guys from maybe the 50s and 60s, like you said, Jimmy, yeah, okay, man, I'll take your word. But I'm thinking, modern era. When I say modern, we'll go 70s until now.
Okay, I think that's a good idea too, because we kind of want to be in the here and now for those. So I went and I looked at Mount Rushmore and I said, why are those four presidents on Mount Rushmore? And it's very simple. They represent the birth, the growth, the development, and the preservation of the United States.
Ooh, preservation.
So
look at you. That's a great call. That's why Teddy Roosevelt's up there, right?
Yes. Well, also Lincoln might he kind of preserved some stuff too. But
I just was thinking natural parks, though, right? That's Teddy Roosevelt's biggest deal.
Correct. So I went with that with my list, which my list was 11 people deep to start with. And then I kind of pared down to a good 6, and I had a fight as well for that last one. Got maybe one that's going to be a little controversial, but they do all fit in those categories for me.
I'm
So
extremely
I am
excited to
pumped.
hear Jimmy Jamriska's version of controversial. For those out there that know Jimmy well, I'm extremely excited to hear Jimmy's version of controversial.
Oh, that'll be it will not disappoint you, I'll tell you that for sure. So without further ado, Mr. Gig Guy, who is one of your faces on Mount Rushmore of wrestling?
Well, let's talk about Washington, the Washington on the mountain. Okay, so he was known as the father of our country. Without Washington, there might not be no United States. So all I have to say about that, Jim Jam and Hot Rod, is we will no longer call it Mount Rushmore. We're gonna call it Mount Crushmore when these 24-inch pythons single-handedly built it. And Hulk Hogan is number one on my list, brother.
Hogan's on my
Hulk
list.
Hogan.
Hogan's on my list.
And Rod has Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan did not make my list.
Wow.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boo this man.
So, Gig Guy, Hulk Hogan, epitome of professional wrestling. When you say wrestling, you think Hulk Hogan. Talk to me a little bit more. Why did you put him on there? Why is he your first pick here on your Mount Rushmore?
Well, Hulkamania is not just a thing on the TV screen. It's a way of life in my house. I've got shirts, I've got bandanas, I've got action figures, I got DVDs. Heck, my mustache is reminiscent of the Hulkster, brother. And I'm telling you right now, we would not be having this very podcast or watching these episodes of Mondays or Wednesdays or Fridays if not for Hulk Hogan. He took wrestling when it was, it was pretty popular. It was just coming on TV and what have you. And then he just became this real life superhero. The muscles, the tan, the red and the yellow, all of his promos, plus he had a positive message, the prayers, the training, the vitamins, the 3 commandments, brothers. And then he'd come out and rip his shirt off and listen for who had the biggest cheer. I mean, come on, this guy's a real American. His theme song, to this day, if you come to a Gig Guy party on the 4th of July, you will hear Real American in the list of songs that come up.
I have a feeling you hear that more than just once a year at your house. I think that's fantastic. Rod, can you follow that at all?
I could follow it a little bit. I mean, it's awfully tough following the Gig Guy, but I'll tell you, I've ran with the Gig Guy since we were back in junior high, so I've got much experience following Warner after one of his great lines. Here's what I will say. If you go up to the random everyman on the street right now and ask them for a professional wrestler, you're going to get Hulk Hogan probably more than any other answer still to this day. And I think that absolutely resonates. And how many vitamins did this guy push? All right. I mean, what did this guy single-handedly do for the vitamin industry back in the 1980s? And he happened to come around at the perfect time when Vince was taking wrestling from the territories to be more of a television sport, and he absolutely needed Hogan, and that guy fit the bill of, look at me, I look like a giant, I'm pretty attractive, and darn, aren't I charismatic? And that, for me, I mean, that just says it. If Hulk Hogan was everywhere, and then, to top it all off, he makes no holds barred in Thunder in Paradise. I don't think I have to say any more.
Don't forget Suburban Commando. Don't forget about Suburban Commando and Hogan's Rock and Wrestling cartoon. You guys remember that?
I believe there was a Santa with muscles as well in there somewhere. But I think also when talking about Hulk Hogan, he also had the biggest heel turn in the history of professional wrestling. He had never been a heel. He had been booed for quite some time in WCW, and then at Bash at the Beach, he became part of the NWO and then resurrected his career, going back to selling the most merchandise. Those NWO shirts were huge. There might have been someone else that had some shirts that were pretty close or even eclipsed those, and we'll talk about maybe later. But he did everything he could to get himself over, and he did. I mean, he wouldn't lose. He made sure that he always got the upper hand. When he went back to WWE, he had an amazing WrestleMania X8 match against The Rock where it just stole the show.
That match was surprisingly good. You're right. I thought Hogan was going to be a complete washed-up carcass in that match, and it was pretty good.
It's my favorite match of all time. That right there is my favorite match of all time. I know that might be cringe to some, but when you talk about the crowd popping, that whole damn match was nothing but the crowd popping. And that was when The Rock was everybody's sweetheart. And guess what? Hulkster came in there. Well, Hollywood came in there and, like you said, stole the show. The crowd was booing The Rock. It was great. I could watch that match 100 more
Well,
times.
Jimmy, you said Hogan did everything, but apparently he didn't do enough to get on your Mount Rushmore. I mean, what are we talking about here, Jim Riska?
Well, we're not we're talking about everything. I'm taking everything into consideration. And Hulk Hogan has made some interesting choices recently in his life.
Oh, come on.
I took that out.
It's not about personal choices.
Took that out right there. Took it out. So you both have Hulk Hogan. I have, as the birth of professional wrestling, when you look at this person, you know he is a professional wrestler. He is a giant of the man. Andre the Giant is on the list. 7'4".
So what, man?
520 pounds.
So what? Give me
Andre
anybody
the
else less
Giant.
charismatic than this dude that you just put on Mount Rushmore.
He was an attraction that Vincent J. McMahon sent around for 11 years all across the world to go in, get a lot of money, get those fans talking. Look at this, the eighth wonder of the world.
People line up to see the bearded lady too.
He had an amazing heel turn against Hulk Hogan as well. He rips the cross with blood on Hulk Hogan's shirt. I challenge you for WrestleMania. And Hogan had no idea. One of the biggest matches of all time, in front of 100,000 people.
The Pontiac Silverdome.
Yes. Obviously, he then became an actor as well. He was known for winning a lot of battle royals.
You were stretching
Andre
here.
the Giant.
You were stretching, Jim Riska.
We have talked about Suburban Commando on the show. I'm not stretching with that acting at all. Andre the Giant is on my Mount Rushmore as part of the birth of professional wrestling. So that is part of my Mount Rushmore.
You know, I battled with myself because when we were talking about Mount Rushmore, I was thinking about the one out in South Dakota. Everybody goes at it and gawks at it. Or I was thinking about one maybe in my backyard that I could gawk at. And when I was wrestling, like you said, Rod, that fourth choice was a hard one. Andre was in my personal battle royal, and he got thrown out, unfortunately. But Jimmy, I totally see it. And weird story, this week at lunch break, I shit you not, there's this old timer. Oh, watch my language, sorry. There was this old timer at work, and he was telling this story, and I heard him say Andre the Giant. He was like 4 seats over. I was like, hey, I stood up. Hey, what's that about Andre you're talking about? He's like, oh, I met him when I was like 6 years old. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I swear, it's great. He's like, yeah, my dad was involved in some Ohio wrestling promotion in 1973, and he met Andre and invited him over to our house. And about a month later, Andre was traveling through and stopped at our house and visited with us for probably 15, 20 minutes. That's how nice a guy he was. And when he left, my mom goes, boy, I'm glad he didn't stay for supper.
Well, Rod, I hope that is one half of my controversial pick. I'm going to leave the person I put in later, and we may have to turn the podcast off. I think you're going to have a heart attack when you see who I put over Hulk Hogan.
Oh, my God. Okay, listen, I'm going to play heel right now, right? I understand Andre the Giant is a great, okay? I understand that there was a wonderful documentary made by one of my personal heroes, Bill Simmons, all about Andre the Giant. That was wonderful, okay? But I'm not going to put a dude on Mount Rushmore just because he was born with great genes to make him huge. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. Other than Andre's size, give me anything that he does remotely like the other people we're going to put on this list. Andre's everything was his size. If he didn't have that, there's no way with that guy's personality, charisma, or moveset he would be anywhere near Mount Rushmore. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to give him the Mount Rushmore spot for winning the genetic lottery. I'm not going to do it.
He did put asses in seats.
That's
a business
huge.
thing. That's a business thing, and he put asses in seats all around the world before wrestling was even a freaking
That's true.
thing.
That's the one pushback to my stuff that I will say that's right. I got nothing against that. But anything else you say, I'll sit here and fight you tooth and nail. But that's the one that I got nothing on. You're absolutely right. He was an attraction.
All right, gig guy number 2 on your list for the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Well, who's number 2 on the great Mount Rushmore? That'd be Thomas Jefferson, right?
Yep.
What'd he do? He single-handedly, penned, not single-handedly, but with a little help from his friends, penned the Declaration of Independence. But what else did he do? The Louisiana Purchase. he doubled our nation's size and he bought all that nature, all that beautiful, pristine land. So I'm going to have to go with my Thomas Jefferson is, woo! Ric Flair, nature boy!
Yes,
Ric
I love it.
Flair. Love Ric Flair on this. So why Ric Flair other than woo?
Well, he's a 16-time, and that's just what they're officially saying. I read reports of maybe 21, but who knows? You never know with fake news nowadays. But 16-time world champion, 8 NWA, 6 WCW, and 2 WWF. He was a master at promos. I mean, seriously, some of his greatest lines, to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm Ric Flair, styling, profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. I mean, that was groundbreaking, pioneer.
Having a hard time keeping these alligators down.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of his great matches. The one that I love the most, it was like a 1983 Starrcade where he fought Harley Race in a cage. Just occasionally, I'll be bored and I'll just throw that match on. I got the DVD of it and I just watch it. And wrestling was a lot different back then, but it was still. I mean, I still enjoy every second of that old school stuff. He had some great feuds with Dusty. I mean, he won the 92 Rumble. I remember how huge that was.
Yep.
And even more modern, when he fought Vince at the Royal Rumble in 2002, I love that match. I mean, that was just a great match. I mean, we could go on and on, but I'm saying Nature Boy. That's my Thomas Jefferson, number 2.
I had Nature Boy at 5. He was my last cut.
You got to remember the back and forth with Jay Lethal and Impact as well, dueling Nature Boys. YouTube that one for a second. One of the greatest promos of all time. I think the longevity for Ric Flair works as well here. He just did it for so long, and he continued to do well on the microphone as well. Sometimes he went a little too long as he got a little older, but other than that, he really did a terrific job overall, and he's relevant to this day, so I think that's a great pickup there. He was number 5 on your list. He was not on my top 4 for this list here, but he was top 5, top 6 for me, Rod.
Heck, you can't even flip through a commercial break without seeing him on a, what is that car commercial? It's like a car insurance commercial. Every time I'll be fast forwarding a commercial break, that commercial will come on and I'll rewind it just so I can see old Nate. Isn't that a quick promo?
Isn't that the General for great low rates you can get online? Go to the General to save some time. Get at me, General. I can do promos for you.
Yeah, you and Shaq can do those. That's fantastic there.
No, Jimmy, I think literally just on his promos alone, right? Like, people love to talk about how great Wayne Gretzky is in the game of hockey because he would literally still be one of the greatest point scorers even if you took his goals away just based on his assists. I think Flair could make this Mount Rushmore just on his promo cuts alone. Let alone that the man could sell moves like nobody's business in the ring, all right? That he, in the ring, could just take an absolute beating and make you buy that he was taking a beating and just sell it all day long and always know that, hey, man, I'm putting on a show here. It's got to look like I'm getting beat to a bloody pulp, and nobody was better at it than Ric Flair.
One of my buddies one time said, "Man, I've seen Ric Flair bleed more than I've seen my own mother's face because he was taking freaking Crimson Mask every time he fought." And think about what a great heel he was. He was like, he loved to hate him. I mean, he was like the anti-hero. But then when he turned face, I always felt bad for him, and he was the underdog and go Flair. But definite number 2, definitely on my list.
That's a great call, Warner. Mr. Morgan, who you got?
Well, I love that you guys went longevity. I'm going to go longevity here for my pick, and my pick is Mark Calloway, better known as The Undertaker, only known as The Undertaker, probably his greatest strength. I'm not sure anybody quite lived a character more than The Undertaker did. The guy showed up, and he tweaked it a little bit. Sure, we got the American Badass Harley riding guy for a little while, but ultimately he was kind of the Prince of Darkness. He was always doing his thing, always fought at WrestleMania, undefeated at WrestleMania, and if you came through the WWE and wanted to be a big time deal, you had to go through The Undertaker for about 20 years, Jimmy? I mean, that's absolutely unmatched, and I'd be surprised if neither one of you guys had him on your list, because to me, he was a stone cold absolute, got to be on the Rushmore.
Yeah, he did not make my list on this one.
I don't understand why I call you the wrestling expert and you're hosting this podcast. You're maybe going to get kicked off of this thing, Jimmy, if you keep this up.
I think he actually built the Mount Rushmore. How about that? He was the one that went in there, put the bombs in there, and got the faces up. Undertaker, you can't go wrong with him. Everything he did was great. He took a gimmick that anyone else could have just failed miserably on the first night, and he turned that into a 25, 30-year career. And he kept going and going, reinventing himself. Even in the last few years when it wasn't really the best, hey, you know what? We're going to do a cinematic match with AJ Styles, and it was fantastic. So Undertaker, love it. Huge story. When he lost to Lesnar at WrestleMania, everybody took a breath. It was like,
yeah, SportsCenter covered that, man. That was one of those deals that SportsCenter even talked about.
Good guy.
Call me a wrestling Karen because I'm still upset about it. Damn you, Lesnar. I hate you and I won't watch.
Good guy. Is Undertaker on your list at all?
No, I didn't make it. But again, he was in that Battle Royal. And you mentioned the biker Undertaker. I thought that was the coolest wrestling storyline. He got buried alive and he was gone for a while. Then all of a sudden, remember he first came back and it was American Badass, remember?
Yeah.
And like for whatever reason, like a couple months later, then it became Limp Bizkit. And both those theme songs, when they popped, I mean the crowd went wild. He came on that motorcycle. I freaking loved it. And then he even turned heel as the biker for a minute. He was mean. He actually won the belt from Hogan when Hogan made his return. He held the belt for a while. And then he got buried alive again. And then he came back as a dead man, and then that's how he finished out his twilight years. And he was, I mean, a definite pillar, definite. He's buried underneath of Mount Rushmore.
That's good. That's good. You know what I like? I think his greatest, real quick, Jimmy, his best actual face turn, I think, even though I discredited the American Badass guy a little bit, but Warner, you maybe remember, his best face turn was probably during that time when he kind of showed up and everybody was like desperate for a hero, because that was real big Vince Corporation style, right? Like they just had everybody down and Taker kind of showed up, and oh man, that was probably one of his best face turns.
Dude, we used to watch it in La Paz on my rabbit ears fuzzy TV, ABC 57 on, I think it was Saturday nights at like 1 a.m. We'd be hanging out and Undertaker would come out. I remember we used to call him, because on the game his initials were UTE, so we'd always call him Pure Ute. You remember that?
Pure Ute, that's right.
Here comes the Pure Ute for you. You come out in that jean vest at first, and yeah, you're right. Stone Cold was hurt, so as The Rock was fighting everybody. He was like the main face, and then here comes Taker. You remember, it was bad. It was badass.
Hey, listen, I put Taker on my list. Neither of you guys did.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean,
no, hey, this is great, because here's the thing. There's no right answer to this except for mine. No, there's no right answer. Mine are definitely not the right answers, because that's what makes wrestling terrific. You have all these different characters, and they all hit everyone differently. Speaking of my number 2, the growth. So when I think of growth, I think of someone who started off real young and just grew and changed and developed and became a megastar. I'm going with The Rock on my Mount Rushmore.
He's on mine.
1996, he debuted as Rocky Maivia. The High Chief Peter Maivia, Rocky Johnson, his father and grandfather, put those names together, and he was instructed to smile nonstop. And that turned every single fan against him. People hated him. They chanted, "Die, Rocky, die," and Rocky sucks, not trying to get at the heel because he was a babyface at the time. He had one of the worst matches at one of the worst WrestleManias in WrestleMania 13. Then he got hurt in April of 1997. And he came back in August of that year in the audience and got on that microphone, became a part of the Nation of Domination, and did not look back. Did not look back. He had amazing Intercontinental and World title matches with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, Mankind. Can you the chair shots at the Royal Rumble where he hit Mankind 58 times in the head with the chair?
Oh, I just got chills down my spine again.
He was a world champion. He had that terrific match against Hulk Hogan where the crowd blew the roof off before the match even started. It was a happening, as Gorilla Monsoon used to say. I know one of your favorites, Rod. So
Shout out Gorilla.
And then obviously The Rock since then has developed into, again, we're talking about going Hollywood and everything like that, going Hollywood. But then he came back. He fought Cena in a couple of WrestleMania main events. He's a world champion. Beat CM Punk for the championship at Rumble. And really, to this day, he's still relevant in wrestling. People still want him to come back. They still want him to come back and face Roman Reigns. I think he will, and it'll be one of the biggest WrestleManias ever.
Yeah, somebody may or may not have on this podcast been guaranteeing to the listeners for quite a while that he was going to show up at WrestleMania this year in Dallas, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to pay that one off.
Well, everybody else is, so I think maybe they're going to hold him back. Gig Guy, what are your thoughts on The Rock, Gig Guy? And then we'll go to Rod, who had him on his list.
He was in that battle royal, Rod. I hate to keep stealing your vernacular there, but that's a good way to put it because I had a hell of a time. Like I said, I had a lot of thoughts, but The Rock was in that battle royal. And you mentioned all that stuff when he first took off until he went to Hollywood. Well, when he came back, you mentioned Cena, and see that was during the decline for me. I just never really bought Cena. That was like the beginning of the end for me. I just could not stand the guy. I just didn't. I mean, sure, he was a pretty decent wrestler, and the crowd loved him. But me personally, I just didn't dig it. So when The Rock come back and started calling him Fruity Pebbles and was ripping on him, I loved it. I was glued to it again because I was down for him ripping on John Cena, everybody's favorite, Little Jimmy's at the time favorite. You remember that? R-Truth, Little Jimmy.
Of course I did.
Rod. I used to call my sons Little Jimmy because they had the Cena action figures and I think one of them had a shirt. I was like, nice shirt, Little Jimmy. Shut up, Dad.
Listen, I Cena, this is the first time we've really talked about him, and I'll just tease right now, he's not on my list. But I will say this, man, something about Cena's music, man. Like, Cena's music hits and I pop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily consider myself a huge Cena guy, but his music is bad. I love it, dude. When it hits, I pop.
Yeah, it's tough when you have some of the best wrestlers, the four best wrestlers, and John Cena, who, he's not on my list either. He was a whole generation's number one guy, and that was helped by The Rock too, because The Rock came in, put him over that second time. And Rod, let's talk about a little bit with the Rock. Anything else you want to add about why he was on your Mount Rushmore?
I think the promo skills, right? I mean, I just think charisma and promo skills are one of those things that we talk about an awful lot that, like, sure, you can go to the WWE Performance Center and you can get yourself all shredded up and you can work hours upon hours upon hours and become a guy who's an absolute tactician in the ring. But if you don't have charisma and if you can't work that crowd and if you can't work that microphone and you can't come up with something they can put on a t-shirt and you can't come up with something that the crowd can chant along and you can't come up with great names for your finishing moves, then you're not going to make it in the WWE. And The Rock just consistently, every time he would say something, it would be awesome. Now, if you then took it to your own regular life and said jabroni, you might sound kind of stupid. But when The Rock said it, it was perfect. If you in your regular life tried to tell somebody to shut up, it doesn't matter what your name is, you'd get in a whole hell of a lot of trouble. When The Rock did it, I popped like crazy.
He also came up with another new word, SmackDown. Who was using SmackDown before him? He came up with a TV show name. Pretty cool.
I think Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg on the Chronic said SmackDown first. I remember, I'm going to have to put the SmackDown. That was the first time I ever heard it. But, Rock took it and catapulted it into the stratosphere.
Oh, speaking of stratosphere, I can't wait to hear this next one. Gig Guy, who you got, number 3?
All right, well, let's think back to our beloved national monument. Who's number 3 on that beautiful mountainside? Well, you got Teddy Roosevelt. What do you know about old Teddy? Well, Teddy was rich from birth, and rather than sit around with a silver spoon in his mouth, he went out west to wrangle some cattle and be a cowboy. And he came back and got into politics, and he was for the working man, and everybody could relate to old Teddy, and he worked his way up to vice president. And then the president died, and all of a sudden, he's catapulted into the main seat, right? And the thing I think about Teddy is, it was the age of the tycoon. The tycoons were buying up the land and drilling for oil and whatever. And Teddy said, no, I'm going to preserve this land. And he made the national park system, right? And then
is this
later
a Ken Burns documentary or a Mount Rushmore wrestling? What's happening here?
Well, I'm about to tell you if you give me a breath here. Now, listen. Later on, because he only served 1.5 terms, okay? So then he tried to come back and have a full second term. And during one of his speeches, he got shot in the chest and finished that speech. And he was one of the toughest SOBs in presidential history. So I am going with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's the bottom line, gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right.
He was number 6. He was 6 for me.
Austin is on my list for preservation. So yeah, he is on my list. Talk to me a little bit more about Stone Cold Steve Austin there, good guy.
Well, I tell you this, when remember I told you the beginning of the, well, no, this is pre-beginning. This I gave up on wrestling after WrestleMania 8. I moved to Plymouth, Rod, and I met you, playing on a softball team, and I just never thought about wrestling again, okay? And then when I did check in later on, I looked and it was like Bam Bam Bigelow versus freaking Lawrence Taylor or some crap at WrestleMania, and I was thinking, oh man, I'm glad I don't watch this crap anymore. So then we went through our high school years. I really didn't give a darn and moved off to Texas after I graduated, and I got down there with no friends, nothing. And everybody on Monday nights, everything was stopped down in Texas. Well, hey, what's going on? Oh, wrestling's on. We got to watch Raw. What are you talking about, Raw? And so I sat down, and it was right when you remember when Stone Cold, he got like crucified, quote unquote, by the Undertaker. It was during that era, Stephanie McMahon, and I was like, what in the hell is what? This ain't the wrestling I remember. And at that very moment, I was hooked on Stone Cold, just beer drinking and cussing and giving out stunners. And I mean, from then on, I bought every single VHS, DVD, action figure, shirt I could get my hands on. And pay-per-views, oh man, Stone Cold, he was the anti-hero. I mean, and think about he beat up his own boss. Who the hell wouldn't love to beat up their own boss?
Yep.
I'd like every day, there isn't a week, I should say, that goes by where I don't think about giving my boss a Stone Cold stunner. There isn't a week that goes by. So, there's nothing flashy about him. Just the black tights, the black vest, come down, Flippy the Bird, that theme music, the glass breaking, catchphrases, the merch sales. I mean, he won multiple Rumbles, championships, another heel turn. Remember when he turned heel and he joined forces with old Vince? And one last thing I'll say is he left the industry on a high note. And I don't know what's going on, Gossip Mill and Twitter and this and that. But I hope he doesn't come back at this WrestleMania. And I don't know if I missed something and he is, but I sure hope he doesn't.
Well, there's heavy rumors that he may be coming back to face Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens is talking really bad about Texas. And I don't know if you know this or not. Steve Austin's from Texas.
Wasn't there a SpongeBob episode where Sandy got mad for talking about Texas? Patrick was making fun of it or something. Come on. This is what you got for storylines. You guys, listen, there's a damn pay-per-view tomorrow, and you guys wanted to record this tomorrow. That's wrestling blasphemy.
So I think
if you had over 30 minutes before Warner broke good on AEW, then you win. I totally would have taken the under on that. Warner, I'm proud of you for waiting 31 minutes to bash WWE and get AEW over.
So I had Austin in the preservation section of my Mount Rushmore for a few reasons. Number one, he is the ultimate meme, the ultimate YouTube clips. For when you look at wrestling, you're going to look at that. You're going to look at the beer truck. You're going to look at hitting McMahon with the stunners, hitting him with the bedpan, the glass breaking, like you said. Also, the money that he generated with Austin 316 with those shirts. He overtook the NWO shirts at one point. Still a great looking T-shirt, honestly. The Attitude Era was all Austin. Got the fingers flying and everything. And then also, for preservation, we've got that podcast that he does a great job with. He's on the network as well, and really, it's getting a number one star talking to other number one stars, giving you a little history and I really love that about him. So yeah, definitely Steve Austin is on the list for me.
What about that? What about that where he beat up Booker T in the grocery store? You remember that?
Yep.
You remember that?
Yep.
That's one of the funniest.
Beat up Vince McMahon with the bedpan in a hospital.
I know. Some of the funniest. That's why I loved him, because he was funny. He was vulgar. It's just definite. So is he on yours, Rod?
He is not. No, my number 4 pick is going to be a little bit controversial. Somebody Stone Cold battled with, actually, but it's not Stone Cold. But I will say this: sometimes when we talk about these things, it's best to just boil it down to the simple premise. Okay, Stone Cold's glass breaking even tops John Cena's as far as like the best thing to be an entrance, right? I mean, it's like it's synonymous now with like a surprise entrance, right? Like we all associate surprise entrances now with glass breaking, or oh shit, it's about to go down, right? That's what glass breaking means. And let's be honest here. Wrestling is a male soap opera, okay? What better line of story can you give to angry men? Again, I'm generalizing, but let's just be honest here. Other than, hey, guess what? It would be cool if you could beat your boss up, wouldn't it? We're about to show you that for 40 minutes here on TV.
I love it. I'm not even joking. Like when I took the test to get into the union, I had to answer all these like psychological questions. Have you ever thought about hitting your boss? And of course I answered no, because I would be on the street if I answered yes. But honestly, I'm telling you, this week, this guy made a mistake at work, and I knew it. And I thought, boy, I'd like to give him a stone cold stunner right now. I seriously thought this.
If you ever do a stunner in real life, you have to immediately come on the podcast and tell us the story.
Well,
I've done it in the swimming
he'll
pool.
get one phone call, so he'll be able to call in at least.
True.
From that.
Yeah. I'll miss the call because this damn thing was hard enough scheduling it. I'll call a freaking empty chat room here.
So, so before we get to our final picks, and Rod, we'll go to you here in a second. You mentioned that it's a male-dominated sport with angry males. Did anyone have a female on their list of Mount Rushmore?
No.
Okay.
Sub in the cricket sound effect.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
put the crickets in, and I did not either. I was wondering if when I say female wrestler, who's the first one that comes to mind? Rod.
Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair. Okay. Warner.
Mae Young. Yeah.
Well, I didn't think Mae Young was going to get a shout out on the Mount Rushmore episode. That's a
Mae Young.
You're so wrong, dude.
So I really think if Becky Lynch would have continued her face run, she would have been top 10, but not top 4. So I think Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Mae Young maybe in there, but we got to give a shout out to the women who.
No, listen, I talk to women up
Oh, no
consistently
question.
on our podcast.
No question.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the EST is doing great work
Yep,
right now.
yep.
I'm not as big of a fan of Becky Lynch as everybody else seems to be. I love Rhea Ripley. I would
Yep.
love for them to figure out something to do with Rhea Ripley, and all hail Queen Charlotte Flair.
That's very well said, Rod. Number 4 on your Mount Rushmore. Let's recap real quick. Rod had Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, The Rock, and
You think I'm cute?
oh,
You know
get
I'm
out of
sexy.
here!
Absolutely, baby. Shawn Michaels. Come on. This is another guy, Jimmy, that I think has a similar career arc to The Rock, and we don't give him a lot of credit for it, all right? This is a guy who's in a tag team with Marty Jannetty. It's a big-time deal when the Rockers break up. Michaels goes out on his own, right? He absolutely gets worked all the time. That guy can wrestle his ass off,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
And he could cut promos, and he kept coming back and coming back. And DX, we talk about how much money NWO made and how much money that Austin 316 made. How many times were guys going at their crotch and saying, suck it, when DX was a thing, all right? I mean, it was an absolutely huge thing, and it helped. I think it helped legitimize DX that a guy like Shawn Michaels was in there. Shawn Michaels has had battles with The Undertaker. Shawn Michaels has had battles with Bret Hart, right? Shawn Michaels was around for the days of wrestling, and then he gave credence to the Attitude Era, I believe. I don't think Shawn Michaels gets enough respect as an all-time great in the wrestling lore. I really don't. So I wanted to put him on my Mount Rushmore and be maybe the one guy out there talking Shawn Michaels up.
Well, listen, I think that Shawn Michaels in the ring work overall, Mike skills, he's Mr. WrestleMania. You can't take that away from him. I think a lot of behind the scenes stuff comes into there, why he isn't put up, higher on that. And he did quit literally a couple times, said, no, I'm not doing that, leaving. He had some other demons as well. But he has come back. He unfortunately got injured, wasn't able to wrestle until Saudi Arabia paid him a lot of money a couple years ago. But Austin and HBK had a very memorable match.
Yep.
Without that HBK win, Austin may not have, taken
what
that
I'm
next step.
saying.
Yep, you're right. Warner, what do you think
It's
about
a
HBK?
predetermined outcome, right? Again, I
Yep.
mentioned at the beginning, it's a predetermined outcome. So one of the things that I think is very important in this sport, right, and I'm doing the quotation marks here, is something that we don't talk about very often, but it's something that a guy like Flair was really, really good at, and we give him credit for it, but I think Michaels was just as good at it.
What do you think about HBK there, gig guy?
Well, how many guys to this day are using sweet chin music? I mean, you see it
Yes.
how many
Everybody.
times an episode. I mean, so right there, pioneer. The naming of the said move again, Rod. Like you said, if you ain't got a flashy name, you know, thanks for playing, pal. And you know the theme song, of course. But what sticks out in my mind the most about Shawn Michaels, and it might be stupid, but you know what? Hold on, let me before I mention it. Remember the Rockers? Remember how freaking when he first come out, they were the. I mean, in my mind, they were some of the original high flyers in my wrestling knowledge
Yeah.
at the time. I loved watching them. I mean, they were crazy. And then what I was gonna mention was the infamous through Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. Do you guys remember that? I love that.
Oh man, that sent shockwaves through wrestling when Michaels broke bad on him. Absolutely.
Yeah, heel turn, the giant heel turn. Yeah, and he was
Which is
hanging out
another
with-
huge part of wrestling, right? That's something else that I think a guy should get credit for, right? A great heel turn is essential to the business, and Michaels had one of the greatest.
Plus that A&E documentary that he was a part of. He was not just being a heel; he was living a heel.
Yeah.
Like he was like a
Yes,
real
he
life
was.
asshole.
Yes, he
I
was.
chose listen, but you guys put Flair, right? We talked Flair. Flair's got some stuff in his past too. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these guys do. We chose to just leave that out. At least I did, but apparently Jimmy didn't, and that's why Hogan didn't make his list.
Correct.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm about to come. Where you live? Where you at? I'm about to come deliver a leg drop right at your door.
He's down my Greenwood, Warner. Let's both go get him.
All right, Warner, who is your number 4? Who is the Abe Lincoln of your Mount Rushmore?
What was Honest Abe? What was he known for? He was known for fighting the Civil War, right? And preserving the Union. Well, there was a little bit of a Civil War going on Wednesdays here recently in the wrestling world. And guess what? Guess who won the Civil War? The North, Lincoln side.
What?
And who won the Wednesday Night Wars? So
What?
this you want to talk controversial.
What's going
I'm going with Chris Jericho, baby.
The walls.
Whoa! Break the walls down.
walls.
Chris Jericho is your number 4 on Mount Rushmore.
You knew he was going to go AEW on us, Jimmy. You knew he was going to do that. And I know Jericho had quite a time in WCW and quite a time in WWE, but he's AEW right now, and so I am not surprised by this, but I love it.
All right, so Warner, talk to me about Jericho. What vaulted him to number 4 on the list?
Well, he's been everywhere, man. ECW, WCW, WWF, New Japan, and now AEW. 6-time WWF champ, 9-time IC champ. I mean, he's had his theme songs. Again, a lot of these guys, their theme songs are what sticks out to me. Now, you had Bring the Walls Down. You guys sing it. I tell you what, I love Judas every bit as much as that. I mean, that was when I went to the live taping of AEW. I felt robbed because he got attacked right in the middle of Judas, and I couldn't finish singing it. I'm telling you, furious.
See,
But-
that's a good gimmick. They just pulled that on WWE where Shinsuke Nakamura was coming out, and everybody loves his entrance, and all of a sudden the Usos beat the crap out of him and Boogs, and their entrance got stopped.
So
And he's another master at promos. I mean, Raw's Jericho,
Oh,
Y2J.
he is. You're right about that.
I mean, seriously. I mean, he headlined WrestleManias against Triple H.
you just made
You
the
know,
list.
Yeah, just made the list. That's what I was gonna say is master at reinventing himself. I mean, and another funny wrestler. I love laughing when I'm watching wrestling. I remember when he was feuding with CM Punk, and CM Punk was all straight edge, and he found out that CM Punk had like a drunk sister, and he broke a bottle of frickin' Jack Daniels on his head or something. I mean, come on. That was great. He's a great heel, but he's also a pretty fun face for a minute, which if you notice, if you guys are watching, he's fixing to turn heel again on AEW, which I'm super stoked about because I was getting a little bit stale there for a minute. But, you know, he was AEW's first champ. I mean, the Stadium Stampede matches were his brainchild. I don't know if you guys watched all those, or both of them, I should say. Freaking hilarious. Great moves. I mean, I'm sure people had their complaints about it, but we were in a damn pandemic. You had to do something. And I paid the $50 each time to watch it, and I'd pay it again.
So Chris Jericho, his 1999 debut when The Rock was in the ring. And all of a sudden, that countdown clock goes down. I just watched it before we got on here, and it was amazing. And then they didn't do anything with him. And then they brought him back. And then he reinvented himself. He went back and forth, New Japan, Mexico, ECW, WCW, Canada, everywhere, like you said. But importantly, too, AEW was formed on his backbone because he was the person in the United States that people knew. They didn't necessarily know everybody else as much because they were more indie wrestlers. That is why Chris Jericho was the development number 4 on my list as well. Chris Jericho on Jimmy's Mount Rushmore.
Man, I poked a hole right.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Poked a hole right in your balloon, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
You did. I really was like, okay, well, fair enough. And you went down almost word. Reinvent is on my list. Mike Skills, champion 6 times. And then I wrote out everywhere that he was been on. Listen, Chris Jericho is, and the development really for him is continuous development. Even now, he's changed his body again, Gig Guy, sorry. He's changed his body again recently where he's gotten into a little bit better shape than he had been. So he's coming back again for that. So
Well,
can't go
that,
wrong
that
with Chris
ladder
Jericho.
match against Shawn Michaels in 2008.
Yep,
When
yep.
he went up against Rod's guy, Shawn Michaels. I mean, that was a freaking awesome match.
Yep.
Jimmy, did I hear a scoff out of you when I said Shawn Michaels, or did I mistake that? I thought I heard like a scoff or a snortle out of you, and then you give me Chris Jericho?
Yeah. Who's better?
Now again, I'm not trying to attack either one of you guys because I like Jericho an awful lot, right?
Sure.
But explain to me how it seemed to me that you thought that Michaels had no business being on a Rushmore, but Jericho did, right? Like, I mean, just like explain to me the huge difference between those two guys.
I honestly just didn't think you were going to pick HBK. That's why I was floored. I just didn't think he was going to be your 4th.
He came from a lot of my era, right? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I talk about it all the time. The Attitude Era is the era that I love the most, and DX was huge for a lot of the Attitude Era. You know what I mean? Badass Billy Gunn. We got the Road Dogg, Jesse James. We got X-Pac. We got China. We got Triple H, who's another guy, frankly, who I kicked around for a little bit, right? Like he was probably more like 10 or 11 for me, but that dude can do it as well.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, listen, he's Mr. WrestleMania, so he's got to be up there somewhere. So I think that's a good pick. I just really didn't think it was going to be there, and I think Chris Jericho's longevity and the fact that he continued to reinvent himself really put him in that development area for me on the Mount Rushmore.
Well, and I was thinking too, if they're going to build this monument where all the public can see it, or are they going to build it in my backyard? And when the final decision came down, I went with the backyard because I didn't want to pick the same dude on your guys' list. But yet, Jericho, he's a controversial topic, but you can maybe see an argument to put him up there. I mean, there's obviously other choices, but
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Coco Beware. You know what I mean? Like, certainly
He was number 5 on my list. Number 5.
He's not the Brooklyn Brawler. You know what I mean?
All right, so let's go real quick. I had Andre the Giant, The Rock, Chris Jericho, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Rod had Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, The Rock, and HBK. Gig Guy had Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Steve Austin, and Y2J, Chris Jericho.
Jimmy, can I just say a name that like I'm sort of bummed out that the name did not come up at any point.
Correct.
And that name is Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, so he was on my list, my initial list of 11, and the fact that he was something. First of all, he called himself the Macho Man, and he pulled it off. He had Miss Elizabeth. He had that great run as
did he ever have Miss
Oh,
Elizabeth?
yes,
Come
he did.
on now.
Great run as Intercontinental Champion. One of the best matches in WWE history. I don't care what you say. WrestleMania 3 against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Steamboat!
An amazing match with the Ultimate Warrior in his final, well, in quotes, final match at WrestleMania where he reunited with Miss Elizabeth. When you hear Pomp and Circumstance, you do not think of Graduation. You think of the Macho Man.
That's for damn sure.
He's another guy, you know what I mean? Like, there's just some guys out there that I just want to, like, at least their name comes up, right? Like, you just said Ultimate Warrior there as well, right? He's a guy who I think was, like, not a very long career, but, man, did he have a high, you know what I mean? Like, there's guys in professional sports that had a couple of years where they were at the top of the mountain and then fell off, but Warrior had a couple of years where he was huge.
Yeah, a couple
Macho Man was my number 5. Actually, he was almost in place of Flair on my amount, but I don't know. I wanted to choose him, but I knew I was choosing Jericho, so I went with Flair. So that way the masses would agree with me maybe a little bit more. But screw the masses. Oh yeah, because I love the Macho Man, cream of the crop.
Gig Guy loves appealing to the masses for sure. A couple other people I had on my initial list. Roddy Piper is just as far as, again, hearing bagpipes play, you just get those chills. amazing heel, great on the mic, reinvented himself a few times as far as attitude and things like that. And then also Bret Hart was on the list, but he just never really got to that point for I mean, he was one of my favorites, but he really wasn't in that upper echelon for me. So he was
not a lot
kind
of charisma out of Bret Hart, right? There was only really one speed for Bret Hart.
Precisely. Anybody else, Warner, or Gig Guy, that you'd like to go over?
Warner is his last name. I mean,
yeah,
it's
I
okay
know.
to call him Warner.
I know it's Gig Guy Warner, but he likes Gig Guy.
Well, you mentioned Bret Hart and Roddy Piper there. That WrestleMania 8 match that they fought, great match there. And Bret Hart, you mentioned him. I don't know, it always made me sick to see. Remember when he threw his fits and he spit in Vince's face and he was, went to WCW. I was glad he was getting his ass whipped by Stone Cold there right before he left. I enjoyed every minute of that.
It was real to Bret
actually,
Hart. It was real to Bret
One of the
Hart.
greatest Stone Cold promos I still laugh about to this day. He's like, put a letter S in front of the Hitman. That's exactly what I think about him.
I don't think I remember that one. That's a good one.
Well, that has been our Mount Rushmore episode of the Yeah We Know podcast. Gig Guy.
Jimmy, are we not going to talk about Ricochet winning the Intercontinental Championship? We're not going to talk about that?
Well, we have to also talk about Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental Championship because I don't think we've talked about that yet. But yeah, Ricochet.
Hey, listen,
by the way, hell yeah, Ricochet.
If you
hell
guys
yeah.
are going to talk sports entertainment, I've got some andirons that need polishing. So I'll let you guys talk about your precious sports entertainment on your own time. Get a hold of me when you want to talk about wrestling.
You've been
That's fair
listening
enough. We definitely
to the Yeah We Know podcast. You're in the ring with Jimmy and Hot Rod.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, maybe we should start having this podcast be You're in the Ring with Jimmy and Gig Guy, man. I don't even know if I can bring a promo at the end after some of the stuff we heard out of the Gig Guy, but I will say this. I'm excited for WrestleMania, and I got some takes. So just come in next week when we're talking a little more WrestleMania for some scorching hot takes from the Hot Rod.